we talked to Sean about the language and the law and how it relates to our money. And so now we're going to ask him about to relate it to the Admiralty law and our current financial situation to the world today.
Crazy. Check it out, folks.
Maritime law is back to this Admiralty maritime system with the first bank being the banks of the river. They harness the currency, and water is pretty important when you're out in the desert. And then they basically just superimpose these concepts, this allegory, on top of the system that's over here. So our legal system is really an allegory of this Admiralty maritime law. So you have, you know, two basic code systems in the United States. You have USC, United States Code, and there's 50 of those. The tax code is section 26. And then you have Uniform Commercial Code, which all money matters, contracts, verbal or written, are governed by Uniform Commercial Code, which is it could be a credit card, it could be a deal between friends, or a mortgage. It's all Uniform Commercial Code, General Provisions, Section 1. There's 9 sections to it. And if you read these, you have definitions. And definitions are important because getting back to the code system with our basic language, well, they've laid yet another code system on top of the code system so below. Bank, if you look up the word bank, well, what is a bank? Well, the first word in the definition of bank in their code is a person. Well, that's kind of interesting. I didn't know that I was a bank. Corporation or trust. And both of those are fictitious political entities. They can't exist without a government. They need somebody to say that, yes, this is a trust, yes, this is a corporation. And you file and pay fees to get this status, and it can outlive a real person. And heaven forbid, should you go out and loan money and charge interest, because that's against the law. You could loan money, but you're not going to charge interest and have the government know about it, because they're going to have a problem. You know, so, and the code system, here again, it's the words. You need to know what is a check. You know, and people should look at these things, because many of your fees and different ways that banks operate and tell you, you know, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, it's really not in the Uniform Command. They're actually breaking the law, and they just figure that, well, most people aren't going to say anything because that's taken from the British system, which is the exchequer, and that's where you get the word check, as in you're signing a check back to the currency system that represents a currency in your name, even though the physical currency isn't there. And the exchequer is actually a black and white chessboard, which still exists today in England, where they used to move the debt around. And most of the words in your system come from that. Your legal and your financial systems come from you know, aspects of the exchequer in England. And you know, basically the world is a big chess game. And if you get up high enough, there are no countries. You know, China has essentially perfected America in a way, is what it is. I mean, they dismantled America over a 30-year span. I mean, there's no accident that, you know, oh, how convenient that there's all these people in China and labor is so cheap. And you have, you know, brand new machinery from every you know, industrialized country on the planet, Germany, Italy, England, United States, setting up a whole new system there. Well, what's wrong with over here? You know, it's like, well, they don't want it over here any longer. It's just like some of the main reasons for World War II was to dismantle Europe, something we don't hear about. I mean, obviously Germany was blown into the pavement, but, you know, England suffered for many, many years afterwards as well with, you know, no economy. And it's basically, that's a way of controlling people. If you're busy trying to just survive, there's not too much resistance that you're going to give the powers that be. So it's very easy to, you know, control people by, you know, taking away the basic essentials. really that's what the system is. You know, everybody's house went up in value 100% 2 or 3 years ago, and you look at what's happening now. It's set up. I mean, just out of nowhere, essentially. You know, all of a sudden, you know, there's this hot housing market, and your house that was $200,000 is now worth $400,000. Well, how did that happen? You know, somebody said so. You know, and that means you pay more taxes, and you know what's really going on. Here again, if you investigate, you could easily find some of these things. There's many videos out there on the Federal Reserve System and things like that, the tax system, and all of that. And there's newer ones out, Aaron Russo and people like that. Unfortunately, most of them don't tell you how to solve a problem, which creates an issue, because if you don't tell them what you want, they'll tell you. You know, and that's really. But as far as educational, you know, those are excellent videos to watch if you're not familiar with it or you want to learn more about it.
So what do you think the solution would be?
I don't really know what the solution is. As far as the money system, you need to use the interest locally in your communities on a city or county level and state level. In other words, if a house was funded by a bank in the town you're living in, all the interest that is made needs to be reinvested into that community, not sent into another country or down to Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, back to our Colombian faction and Illuminati. You know, why is it called District of Columbia? You know, and there's 50, you know, alien nations surrounding it now. Is basically, it's the master corporation. And, you know, they can't get any money off of the Federal Reserve because that's private. It's a private system. And it's based on negative numbers. It's based on that below. And you never see that below. Where does this come from? Where does this value come from?
Negative system mean debt.
Yeah, if you look on all your paper money, it says this note is for debt, public and private debt.
Legal for all
Yeah,
debt,
it's
right?
not for goods and services and things. And you know, you're using debt. So basically, somebody has to pay that debt, and that's, you know, the 14th Amendment states, "You shall not question the debt of the United States." So back to everybody thinks Mr. Lincoln was helping the slaves, 13th Amendment, and what was really going on is, get them to look at the African slaves and physical slavery. Now you're going to have slavery of currency. You know, all your valuables are converted to their system. The only thing that goes up in value is real property. And if you look in the congressional record in 1933, it says the value of this currency shall be based in the property of the United States. And that's really what's going on. They have these port deals. Oh, we're leasing this, we're leasing the roads. You know, the government, as far as their money system, which most of that is funded through taxes. They have taxes on everything. You go to a movie, there's a tax. It doesn't matter what you're doing, there's some kind of tax there. And that's basically how your government is funded, because all of the money from the banking system essentially leaves the country, you know, and goes to the main banking families of the world who have been running things for a while.
All right, so that was Sean Coulter sharing a whole bunch of different viewpoints and a lot of information there that I know we gave you something to think about.
Plenty of food for thought. Our mission is accomplished once again.
Yeah, I hope we served it up. I hope it was nice and tasty and hot for you, spicy. You know, hopefully it teased the palate of the mind.
Groovy.
Everything.
Thanks for being with us. We'll check you next week here on Food for Thought. Peace.
Good night.